The worrying trend of self-inflicted harm is developing among Barbadian school children. The local death toll from HIV/AIDS has climbed above 1,500. And in sports, Chris Gayle leads the Royal Challengers Bangalore to the IPL finals.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
A very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Lord with the CBC Evening News. A new disturbing trend is emerging among public and private secondary schools in Barbados. It's a practice called self-harming behavior. The extent of the trend was revealed today by education officials at a symposium at the Savannah Hotel. Damien Best has that story.
During that symposium, President of the Barbados Association of Guidance Counselors, Margaret Grant, told the audience that for the school year, guidance counselors in 15 out of 26 schools have dealt with 93 cases of self-injury. That figure represents just a sample. Mrs. Grant says the evidence is clearly visible on their bodies.
The areas of the body most targeted for self-cutting in the statistics which were given were as follows: the inner arm being the most common, the thigh or leg, the face, the forehead, the neck, the chest, underneath the breast, stomach, heels, and shoulder.
Methods used for inflicting self-injury include cutting, burning, and overdosing on medication.
The objects used, razors being the most common, the blades from sharpeners, compass and dividers from geometry sets. They're taking their maths to another level. Pins, hairpins, needles, scissors, large sharp fingernails.
The reasons given by students for their actions included bullying, domestic problems, and name-calling. Adult and pediatric psychiatrist Dr. Shirley Aline told CBC News interventions have to occur outside the student-guidance counselor relationship.
It also needs to involve the parents, the parent-child relationship. Sometimes there are issues within the relationship that need to be worked through in therapy. Sometimes there are issues within the community that the child exists, whether it be high levels of violence, exposure to things that a child should not see, whether it's sexually inappropriate or violent sort of information, lots of violent video games, that kind of thing. So at a community level, sometimes interventions need to occur.
Guidance counselors say self-injury is being used as a coping strategy for some students to help deal with their intense emotional state, and it cannot be dismissed as a meaningless bid for attention. Damien Best, CBC News.
HIV and AIDS is taking a toll on Barbadians, and government is stepping up the fight against the dreaded virus. Health Minister Donville Innes says his ministry is under threat to find the finance to fight the scourge. He was speaking at the launch of the Caribbean Regional HIV/AIDS Testing Day 2011 at Scotiabank Broad Street. According to the minister, between 1984 and last year, just over 3,400 people tested positive for HIV. 2,219 people developed AIDS and 1,508 died.
In 2010, there were 133 newly diagnosed cases of HIV in Barbados, 67% being male. But the interesting thing is that the age range between 17 years to 64 years. So really and truly, no age group is really escaped in this epidemic. There was a significant distribution of new cases in the 40 to 49 age group, about 31% of the new cases falling in that age group, which is a very productive age group pretty much in this society. 26% in the 30 to 39 age group, and in the 20 to 29 age group, 23%.
Minister Innes says his ministry will continue to strengthen HIV surveillance and will be expanding care services to those affected by the virus.
Not everybody is going to want to come to us. We have to find ways of getting to individuals, meeting them sometimes in their own domain, in their own sphere. And hence the Ministry of Health have taken a policy position that there must be further decentralization of HIV services throughout the Ministry of Health, including testing, treatment, and counseling and related issues. We also are proposing to expand the integration of HIV and sexual and reproductive health, as well as maternal and child health services throughout our primary care departments of the Ministry of Health.
Well, scores of workers from the Barbados Light and Power's Spring Garden and Garrison offices have returned to their post after staging industrial action yesterday to press for outstanding monies. They say they're owed over a year in back pay by the island's sole electricity supplier, and attempts to get them to put a firm offer on the table have not been successful. The strike involved generation workers, maintenance staff, operators, linesmen and electricians. But from all reports, it was not sanctioned by their representative, the Barbados Workers Union. CBC also understands that moves are afoot to have the two parties return to the bargaining table sometime next month. With the hurricane season just 4 days away, Barbadians are being urged to prepare for any major natural disaster. The advice from Attorney General Adriel Brathwaite during the Ministry of Tourism's Multi-Hazard Disaster Management Symposium at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Centre. Mr. Brathwaite says Hurricane Tomas was an eye-opener for the country based on the amount of damage it did to homes on the island. The AG also says with major natural disasters being on the rise globally, international aid may not be forthcoming.
There was a time when the region believed that, in fact, that if there was an event that the U.S. government or the UK or Canada, that in fact that aid would automatically come to the region. I'm saying to you this morning that given what is happening internationally, that given the fact that events are happening across the globe, that there will be less resources available, and therefore we are probably better off spending more money now on risk reduction than we were a couple of years ago, because it will assist us in the long run.
The Attorney General says there's no doubt that effective prevention is achievable through the enforcement of suitable building codes.
It makes no sense you invest in millions of dollars in a plant that if it's a Category 1 storm, that in fact that you're out of business immediately. So whether or not we do immediately enforce the building code, I'm saying that we should take it upon ourselves to ensure that any investment that we make in the construction of hotel plants, that they can withstand significant events and stuff. And even on a personal level, as a country, you individually, you should ensure that happens.
Well, coming up, Bacchanal Time makes a pitch for a VAT concession. Please stay with us.
Here is the Call Cafe tip of the day for mixing coffee to ensure the best possible taste. Coffee must be stored away from strong odors as it has the capacity to absorb surrounding odors.
When high prices are knocking at your door, People's Market, we knock them out and lay them on the floor. People's Market, for the widest range of household items, food stuff and more. The People's Market, knock them out with a bomb.
Here's why you should pay with your Carif's branded debit card. There's no signature required, and you won't have to show ID, because your PIN is all you need to access your money. Just shop, swipe, and go. Easy access every time in less than 15 seconds. It's your money. Carif's keeps you in touch with it.
When high prices are knocking at your door, People's Market, we knock them out and lay them on the floor. People's Market, for the widest range of household items, food stuff and more. The People's Market, knock them out with a bomb.
When the flu strikes, it never comes in the same way. If you have the flu but can't afford to fall asleep, there's a suitable Panadol. Panadol Multi-Symptom Non-Drowsy.
Tent managers are not happy with government's refusal to reduce the value-added tax on tents this crop over. Director of Bacchanal Time Calypso Tent, Eric Lewis, says the 17.5% VAT should have been lowered to the same level as that in the tourism sector of around 8%. Mr. Lewis was speaking during the media launch of Bacchanal Time at Lucky Horseshoe, Worthing. He says tent managers already have to make too many sacrifices for the festival to be a success without getting anything in return.
Let's say next year now, all the tent managers and the masqueraders say, see the stupidness that we doing year in, year out? Let me take a break next year. You would be surprised to see how fast phones in Barbados will start ringing. Now, we don't want it to come to a situation where we appear to be holding hands over, holding people hands over fair, because the public perception is that the Calypsonians always begging and always doing this and always that. But you have to understand what we are facing right now. We are at the end of the rope, and we need as much help as possible.
Another director of the tent, Kevin Hines, says all the major competitions are born out of the tents, and for this should be recognized.
Back in our time especially, we've won a Barbados Tourism Award, which means that someone out there has recognized the work that we do to bring people into the country and obviously bring in valued foreign exchange. So that being said, I wish that, like taxi men and like anyone else that's in the tourism industry, we were treated with some regard to that end, that we help bring some of the foreign exchange into the country, and therefore we should be given some kind of concession.
The Congress of Trade Unions and Staff Associations of Barbados, CITUSAB, is establishing a succession plan. It is setting up a youth arm, something that is being seen as vital to the sustainability and the repositioning of the labor movement. General Secretary of CITUSAB, Dennis DePisa, says the youth arm will be launched on Tuesday evening at Solidarity House. According to him, the plan is to train the young members of the labor movement.
We educate them, and of course, provide them with a lot of information about the life, the work of the trade union movement. Those persons will then be equipped with the knowledge and, of course, through that training, the requisite skills so that they themselves can be organizers, and then move beyond that to the higher level of understanding what is the path that the trade union movement has to take, how they themselves can be drivers so that they become part of the leadership of the movement.
The head of the Pan-African Affairs Commission believes teachers have a significant role to play in curbing the deviance in the island's youth. Chairman Dr. Erskine Simmons says teachers spend a long time with students, more so than parents or any other relatives. In relating children's minds to that of a computer, Dr. Simmons noted that teachers are the ones who do the necessary programming during their tutorials, and as a result, they have more opportunities to influence the child's behavior. Dr. Simmons made the comments last evening during the installation ceremony at the Errol Barrow Center for Creative Imagination at the UWI Caveville campus.
Who programs that computer? The parents programs the computer. The society programs the computer, but more important than all, the teacher is the fundamental programmer of that computer. So when we see children doing strange things, we have to look at ourselves. Because if the computer is not programmed correctly, then you have the kind of problems that we have.
Well, greed and jealousy have been listed as two major causes of recent departures of church members from the Spiritual Baptist Church in Barbados. That's the view of His Holiness Patriarch Dr. Granville Williams in an interview with CBC shortly after returning home from an extensive U.S. tour of Miami, New York, Boston, Detroit, Ohio, and Michigan. According to Patriarch Williams, although he recognizes he could lose control of his church, he had his faith in God to support him.
In a sense, it could happen because not really control of the church, because the road Jesus walked, you would have thought he failed, but he didn't fail. I'm still in control of my group. I'm still in control of lots of people, all and anywhere. But the others coming up, no. And who are they? Ready members from here. Over 300 of them. They started from down in there too. That's how we lost my church in Bethlehem, called Bethlehem in New York. All is built upon the strength that I gave.
Patriarch Williams expects that the Sons of God Apostolic Church will continue to spread throughout the world despite losses of significant members in Barbados and in New York.
The church in New York has been broken up. Jealousy, I know. We were the leading Spiritual Baptist Church in New York. Dozens of members went down. They were ordained and they went down there to take charge.
And the spiritual Baptist head leaves Barbados shortly on a pastoral visit to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, one of 3 regional states affiliated with the Barbados-based church. Well, still to come, a look at some of the stories making headlines across the region, but first, the Courts Quiz. Where in Barbados would you find Shark Hole Beach?
Quartz has what you need for your digital life. MP3 players, digital cameras, gaming consoles, laptops and desktop computers, LCD TVs and home entertainment systems. All from the world's top brands. For the things you need in your digital life, Quartz, bringing value home.
What does financial flexibility mean to you? To Mike, it means he can get to his office in a Signia financed car. To Joan, it means she can make home improvements, travel or pay her children's college tuition with Signia's home equity loan. To Mark, it means that his business has greater flexibility with Signia's commercial loans and very competitive buying and selling rates for his foreign exchange transactions. To Richard, it means he can invest in term deposits and stocks with expert investment advice from Signia's team. Whatever financial flexibility means to you, Signia. Don't wait. Call or visit us today.
Barbados Gospel Fest 2011, May 21st to 29th, with top Billboard gospel artist William McDowell, I Give Myself Away, and Bushawn Mitchell, Nobody Greater, international author and speaker Michelle McKinney-Hammond, Minister Kevin Downswell of Jamaica, Positive of Trinidad and Tobago, and comedian Rod Z, among many others. More details on www.barbadosgospelfest.com. 7 exciting events over 9 days. Barbados Gospel Fest 2011, May 21st to 29th. Awesome!
When the flu strikes, it never comes in the same way. If you have the flu but can't afford to fall asleep, there's a suitable Panadol. Panadol Multi-Symptom Non-Drowsy.
And Shark Hole Beach is located in St. Philip. Well, Red Jet has announced that it will no longer seek to operate flights between Jamaica and Trinidad. The low-budget carrier has also postponed the service between Barbados and Jamaica for another 2 months. The airline blamed ongoing regulatory delays in Port of Spain and Kingston for the decision. In emails sent to customers, Red Jet, which is providing fares from as low as US $9.99, said the delays were out of its control and has promised a full refund. Red Jet expressed disappointment to its passengers and said it will remain committed to bringing them the lowest fares. The Barbados-based airline, which is viewed as a major competitor to some of the established regional carriers, has been bogged down by bureaucratic and administrative delays in getting the Jamaica and Trinidad services operational over the past few weeks. But in the meantime, the Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica governments have hailed an agreement allowing for Caribbean Airlines to take over the operations of Air Jamaica as a true sense of economic integration within the Caribbean community. We have
Prime
more
Minister
in
Kamala
this report.
and Jamaica's Finance Minister Audley Shaw have signed on the dotted line for the merger of Caribbean Airlines and Air Jamaica. The document was also signed at a ceremony at the Prime Minister's Sinclair office by Finance Minister Winston Dukran in the presence of Works and Transport Minister Jack Warner. Speaking briefly after the signing, Prime Minister Prasad Bessessa hailed it as a significant step in forging partnerships in the region.
It's a great day. Green letter day. Let us continue to partner in other areas, as you've indicated. Very interesting concept while we talk about economic integration. It will really be the single items that will make up the whole item of that integration. And so it's one at a time, one day at a time, as we continue to forge these links in partnership for the benefit of our people on in each of the nations, but also for the greater benefit of the region, the CARICOM region.
Jamaica's finance minister says since the airlines entered into the arrangement a year ago, there has been greater efficiency in Air Jamaica operations.
The important thing here is that this signing fulfills a vision that has been held by government leaders in both in Trinidad and in Jamaica. that with unification and with a merger, we can create a product that is larger, that therefore has the critical mass that is needed in order to guarantee medium and long-term profitability.
Under the agreement, this country's Finance Minister Winston Dukran says this country will now have access to all Air Jamaica routes.
We have agreed on the shareholders' agreement between Caribbean Airlines and Air Jamaica. Essentially, what is at stake here is that Caribbean Airlines will now have legal access to all the routes that were being flown by Air Jamaica.
Ahead is the Lime Sports World, but before we get to that, a tip from Cooperators General Insurance.
This tip of the day is brought to you by Cooperators General Insurance Company Limited. Insurance the way you want it to be.
Safer vehicles are vehicles that prevent crashes and protect road users, including pedestrians and cyclists, in the event of a crash. This tip in association with the Decade of Action for Road Safety.
Everything you need, say hello, Yellow. Barbados Yellow Pages. Print, mobile, online at barbadosyp.com.
Pride. A feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from achievements, qualities, or possessions. At Banks, we know what it takes to make a great beer because we've been doing it for over 45 years. That's why we're proud to tell the world that this beer,
Banks Beer, is made in Barbados.
When the flu strikes, it never comes in the same way. If you have the flu but can't afford to fall asleep, there's a suitable Panadol. Panadol Multi-Symptom Non-Drowsy.
It's a wow weekend sale at Brankers on Fontebelle. Your home is crying out for the wow factor. And Brankers has answered your call. Wow your kitchen with new large ceramic tiles on sale at $3.33 each. 24 by 24 and 24 by 48 inch countertop porcelain tiles at 20% off. Wow! It's time you put the wow back into shower time. With frameless glass shower doors in various sizes, complete with installation hardware. They're now on sale at 20% off. Get trendy with the new exciting and unique glass and marble mosaics that have just arrived at Brankers. They are guaranteed to give your home the wow it deserves. Visit Brankers first. Countertop porcelain tiles at 20% off. Wow! It's time you put the wow back into shower time. With frameless glass shower doors in various sizes, complete with installation hardware. They're now on sale at 20% off. Get trendy with the new exciting and unique glass and marble mosaics that have just arrived at Brankers. They are guaranteed to give your home the wow it deserves. Visit Brankers first. Your home will love you for it. It's all affordable luxury at Brankers. But you have to hurry. This sale won't last forever. Brankers on Fontebelle.
Welcome to Lime Sports World.
Good evening, I'm Mark Seal with your Lime Sports World. Heroics from former West Indies captain Chris Gayle powered the Royal Challengers Bangalore into the final of this year's Indian Premier League against the Chennai Super Kings. The Jamaican smashed 89 off just 47 balls to help his team to a challenging total of 185 for 4. Bangalore then restricted Kieran Pollard's Mumbai Indians to 142 for 8 to win by 43 runs.
Crunch, 4 runs, nobody move. Shot, what a shot.
That'll go out of the ground too. That'll go a long way too. Front foot or back foot, fast bowler or spinner. Chris Gayle has only one destination today, and that is beyond the boundary. Wonderful. And again, 6 more. Chris Gayle just keeps on going along. Another one. No, it looked when it was in the air like it was headed into Sri Lanka. But James Franklin kept running around the bend and the ball descended just a trifle short of the boundary. And another one goes. Oh. What a catch!
Oh, goodness me, now he set that out of the ground. That is quite extraordinary. That is an unbelievable shot. Wow.
That is pure reflex. Well, he would have had his heart in his mouth. And that's why that expression, wow.
Mumbai Indians, they've fought back beautifully in this match. Gayle was sensational, 89 on 47.
As I said, Bangalore went on to win by 43 runs. The final between Chennai and Bangalore takes place tomorrow. Live coverage on MCTV Sportsmatch channel from 10:30 in the morning. All's well with Cave Hill and Mona UWI campuses after Wednesday's altercation at Community College that caused the basketball game between those two teams to be abandoned. Cave Hill of Barbados were awarded the men's basketball title after Mona of Jamaica failed to turn up for the rescheduled game the next day. The incident was reported in one of today's local newspapers, which didn't sit well with the UE family. This afternoon at a news conference, the chairperson of the local organizing committee, Professor Udine Barato, said that particular report was misleading.
Last night, the basketballers from the Mona team and the Cave Hill team were hanging out at the athletic village together. The players who were involved in the fracas apologized to each other. The Cave Hill players and the Mona players apologized to each other and regretted the incident. And we know at the Cave Hill campus and throughout UWI, it is not symptomatic of anything bearing on any national relations, and we could not understand why a media house would attempt to inflame any existing notion of tensions to suggest that players from a campus would represent nationality.
Cave Hill won the inter-campus games for only the 5th time, dethroning 17-time champions Mona, who were incidentally going for 4 in a row. The 2013 games will be held at Mona. Garrison, Combermere, Springer, and Alexandra are all into the under-13 semi-finals of the Barbados Secondary Schools Netball League. The quarterfinals were contested last evening at the Netball Stadium. CBC's Melissa Farley reports.
Hailing from the Garrison Secondary are the girls in red up against Leicester Vaughan. It was a tight encounter as both teams replied to each other goal after goal. And though the game was a low-scoring one, Leicester Vaughan managed to stay close, trailing by 2. Goal attack Makera Thornhill had 3 from 12 attempts. And her goal-scoring partner, goal shooter Sharika Bulling, putting 1 of her 7 from 14 attempts. But it was the 8 goals from Ashantia Phillips, assisted by 5 from Nyasha Williams and 1 from Alyssa Bino, that saw Garrison winning 12 goals to 10 with a spot in the semi-final. Meanwhile, in yet another low-scoring game, Combermere will occupy a spot in the semis as well, after beating Queen's College 7 goals to 5 in their quarterfinal clash. However, QC kept the score gap narrow. Second half goal shooter Deanne Wood scored only 1 after teammate Alyssa Callender was goalless in the first half. But it was Rebecca White who kept them close as she shot 4 of QC's 5 goals. In the end, Combermere rode on Shaniqua Thomas, who scored 6 of their 7 goals to seal the win. Melissa Farley, CBC Sports.
Thanks, Melissa. And in the other 2 games, Springer crushed Lodge by 21 goals, 24-3. Rikisha Joseph had 15 from 20. And then Alexandra defeated St. Michael 6 goals to 2. We'll take a break here. When we come back, cricket.
So who's making your lime faves? Your best friends Tara, Julie, your mom, your sister. Any 5 for your faves, it's all good. You'll get unlimited local calls and texts to any 5 local Lime mobile or landline numbers. It's only $15 for 7 days or $45 for 30 days. Just text FAVE7 or FAVE30 to 145 to save with Lime Faves for prepaid. So, who will be in your Lime Faves? Choose your Lime Faves today. Lime, for living every day.
India will travel to the West Indies without 4 key players: Gautam Gambhir, Virender Sehwag, Yuvraj Singh and Sachin Tendulkar. Gambhir and Sehwag are injured. Singh has a respiratory infection, while Tendulkar has requested to spend time with his family. Suresh Raina therefore will captain the one-day side as Gambhir is out and Mahendra Singh Dhoni is being rested for the limited overs phase of the tour. That Digicel pair tour between the Windies and India bowls off on June 4th with a 2020 international, followed by 5 one-dayers and 3 tests. And talking about test cricket, with that test series between the West Indies and Pakistan ending in a 1-all draw, the analysis has started on what was achieved or not achieved in part 1 of the Digicel home series. CBC's Shane Jones gives his views.
Nash went early, caught by Toki Kumar.
All tied up after 2 tests, but who will feel that they gained the upper hand? Pakistan will be wondering when they will ever win a test series in the Caribbean, while the Windies would be certainly ruining a golden opportunity for a rare series win after a disastrous 3rd day in the 2nd test that arguably cost them the match. I believe it's pretty much even Stevens. Pakistan dropped a fair number of catches in the 1st test, as did the Windies in the 2nd.
And almost a wicket.
Both teams relied heavily on their bowling. Pakistan their 3 spinners, and the West Indies more so in the seam department. Inexperience was the popular word used in the build-up to the series, as Pakistan were without their prolific Yunus Khan, while the presence of Gill and Dwayne Bravo was missed from the Windies dressing room. So with a level playing field in that aspect, you would have expected the regional team to have the home court advantage, right? Not really, not on those bowler-friendly tracks served up in Guyana and St. Kitts. Pakistan spinner Abdur Rahman said he wished he could walk around with the Caribbean pitches. No surprise the Pakistani spinner was named man of the series. Syed Ajmal and his controversial Doosra dismantled the Windies' batting. It is a direct reflection of our regional competition, where spinners dominate every year. The worrying factor is that it did not seem that our batsmen adjusted at all over the 9 days of play. Desmond Haynes, as batting consultant, has his work cut out. Remember, India comes here in a matter of days. Then we go in their backyard later in the year, surely to get more spin. Only 2 batsmen got half-centuries. Ramnaresh Sarwan and vice-captain Brendan Nash are sure to come under the microscope. However, out of the series, Ravi Rampal has been a gem with the ball. Darren Sammy will be pleased that he got some good performances as skipper along with a test victory.
Wrecking the stumps, completing the victory, and celebrations in the West Indies.
While Devendra Bishu and Lendl Simmons should feel fairly satisfied with their individual efforts. But for me, the biggest positive on the tour would be the fight shown by the young unit. Too often in the past we have seen the Windies come close only to give it away. If anything, this bunch appears to have the right attitude, and that's a start. Shane Jones, CBC Sports.
And Umar Gul.
And in more cricket news, Prasanna Jayawardene hit 112 today to put Sri Lanka in control of the 1st test against hosts England in Cardiff. The wicketkeeper batsman Jayawardene took centre stage, reaching his 3rd test century from 147 balls as Sri Lanka wrapped up 400 all out. England finished day 2 on 47 for 1. Day 3 starts on MCTV Sportsmatch channel from 6 a.m.
This has been Lime Sports World.
The Sparman Clinic is designed to provide the comfort of your own home while you receive cutting-edge medical and cardiac care. Our group of 7 doctors and staff deliver outstanding customer service. Our facilities include a high-tech operating room, ambulance service, 7 beds, ICU, gym and cardiac rehab. We offer dietary therapy, weight loss, executive physical, inclusive of massage therapy, and a pharmacy with free delivery nationwide. Remember, the Sparman Clinic. We care.
This Friday night movie.
Look at him, grinning like a monkey.
He didn't pull any switch. He's just as surprised as we were.
2 identical suitcases, both white ribbon. Never happened.
It happened.
You're not going anywhere, Mr. Gordini. Please, sit down. Bring the suitcase back, Harry. That's if you ever want to see your family alive again.
Tonight's business report is brought to you by Banks Holdings Limited. Many companies, one goal: excellence.
In business tonight, the recession has not affected the annual manufacturers trade show, BMEX. Executive Director of the BMA, Bobby McKay, says manufacturers have been able to weather the recession by being more innovative.
I'm also seeing a lot of the manufacturers, even smaller ones, who were aggressive and assertive throughout the whole recession, who got out and knocked on doors and have been working and have been taking on work. I have one small company, we won't say their name yet because they want to do a big launch, but they just got a job doing furniture for the new Marina in Grenada, which is a huge, contract to get. And we have that type of thing going on. We've had one manufacturer who just finished doing 2 hotels, all the furniture for 2 hotels, and who's taking on more. So the people who have been assertive and aggressive have come through very strong.
And some new elements have been added to make the event even more exciting this year.
We have new partners, we have international buyers as usual, but some new ones coming in. And we have a delegation coming in through the British High Commission from the UK. That's a first for us. They're as exhibitors. We have visitors and exhibitors from St. Vincent. We've had exhibitors from there before, but this year we have the St. Vincent Hotel and Tourism Association and Invest St. Vincent. We also have the Grenada Export and Marketing Company.
Barbados' recovery from the global economic and financial crisis will depend on how quickly its major trading partners rebound. Finance Minister Chris Sinclair made the point while addressing the Caribbean Development Bank's Board of Governors annual meeting over in Trinidad.
Mr. Sinclair said Barbados, like many others in the region, remains challenged by the adverse global events. He added that while the Barbados government will continue to pursue its broad objectives of protecting jobs, there's a need to address the current challenges without doing damage to its primary goals. According to him, the Frundell Stewart administration is continuing the process of correcting the ongoing fiscal imbalances through major policy adjustments. He said these adjustments, as contained in a medium-term fiscal strategy for 2010 to 2014, call for initiatives that will see a containment of fiscal spending and greater efficiency in revenue collection. The finance minister said Barbados has found it necessary to chart a medium-term development strategy for the next 5 years, which will serve the purpose of providing a blueprint of the island's development agenda for funding institutions like the CDB. Mr. Sinclair said the preliminary data for the first quarter of 2011 indicated that the Barbados economy is beginning to stabilize. Damien Best for the Business Report.
Thank you, Damien. And now here's a summary of today's trading on some of the region's stock exchanges.
As Banks Holdings Limited grows and expands to meet increasing global challenges, we remain a true Bajan success story. Not only are BHL products a part of every Bajan home, but we're in the region and increasingly even further afield. So as you continue to make Banks Holdings Limited part of your life, you continue to strive for excellence.
BHL, many companies, one goal, BHL.
In international business now, the global travel industry is embarking on a code of conduct to protect children. According to reports, thousands of children worldwide are at risk from sex tourists and prostitution rings. But a major U.S. hotel chain, the Carlton Group, says human trafficking must become a thing of the past.
More and more companies are doing it. I think that perhaps at the beginning there was a reluctance because really travel and tourism is a happiness business. We bring people together. We feel like we promote global peace that way. So to suddenly begin talking about using children as commodities and buying and selling them and being associated with that is certainly not something that most PR firms or in some cases even legal departments recommend. But what we did when we began to realize the extent of the problem, and we became indignant to think that 2.3 million children are being exploited, they're being treated as commodities and bought and sold. Once you become aware of it, it's just unconscionable not to do everything you can to try to prevent it.
David Best is up next with the weather forecast.
Tonight's business report was brought to you by Banks Holdings Limited. Many companies, one goal: excellence.
Hey mama, hey papa, Emerald City and Carlton. Sweet mommy, love your daddy. Emerald City and Carlton. Keep home, sweet home. Emerald City and Carlton.
Variety, convenience, and great prices. Open till 1 minute past 10.
Emerald City and Carlton.
Proper. H&B Hardware has the best price deals for you. Get great prices on 75-watt flood bulbs, $4.99. 1 gallon coolant, $5.99. Mason hatchet, $19.99. 4.5-inch grinder, $189.99. And 7.25-inch circular saw, $193.99. H&B Hardware, the helpful hardware, Warren St. Michael. Call 425-4565.
Big Hill, I'm Roger. And I'm Imran. And we're going to be here every Saturday, reasoning with people who are keeping it real on things that matter most to you, the youth, like drugs, AIDS, gangs. Check us out on Big Hill, Big Hill.
A very good evening to all, and we had another scorcher here in Barbados and across the island chain. The shower activity was minimal across the most of the island chain, but down south over Trinidad and the Guyanas, they had some action. Take a look at our high at the airport, 31.6 degrees Celsius. This was measured around 2. The minimum temperature overnight, 25.7. At 6 o'clock, we were looking at partly cloudy skies, 29 degrees Celsius. That represents a pretty high temperature for that time. The humidity, 84%, and the winds out of the east-southeast at 16 kilometers per hour. We had 1.7 millimeters of rainfall, though, overnight, and that brings the total for the month so far to 193.1 millimeters at the airport. Almost 7 inches of rainfall so far for the month, but the latter part seems to be a little on the dry side. Barbados and the island chain, and again, this is the area of operation of the high pressure system, and that maintained dry and stable conditions for the most part over Barbados and to the east of the island chain. Not a lot of low level cloud was being generated, but a totally different situation down south. There are 2 tropical waves we're tracking. The first is in the vicinity of 50 degrees west. The activity is well to the south of 10 degrees north, and that is generating quite a bit of activity over open water at this time. The other tropical wave is directly to the south of us along 60 degrees west, with activity just to the north around 12 degrees north, generated quite a bit of shower activity and thunderstorms over the Guyanas and the Trinidad. Our predictions are that some of this moisture is going to be deflected as far north as Barbados tonight, and there's a good chance we could see a few scattered showers and maybe even a few isolated thunderstorms. But that is going to be pushing further to the west by tomorrow. To the north, mostly high-level cloud, looks a bit busy, but not a whole lot of action. As a matter of fact, over the northern islands, this trough is generating quite unsettled conditions over Hispaniola. They had cloudy skies, scattered showers, and some isolated thunderstorms, and those conditions should extend into tomorrow. Let's take a look at our expectations for tomorrow, this precipitation chart. intertropical convergence zone activity, tropical wave activity. As a matter of fact, showers and thunderstorms over the south. As I indicated, we're going to be looking at a little bit of action tonight, but generally the atmosphere is going to be quite stable into the weekend. Not a whole lot of shower activity expected. Let's take a look at our 4-day prediction. We're going to be looking at Saturday through to Tuesday next week. And we're going to be looking at partly cloudy skies, a few scattered showers thrown in, of course. Generally fair across the during the weekend and into the early part of next week. Of course, we don't rule out a stray shower here and there. Sunrise in Barbados tomorrow, 29 minutes to 6 o'clock. Sunset will be at 20 minutes after 6. The tides, the first high tide 25 minutes after midnight, the second is going to be at 13 minutes after 1 in the p.m. The first low tide 6 minutes after 7 in the a.m. The second is going to be at 6:36 in the evening. Seas moderate in open water, swells just peaking at about 2 meters, about average. The winds across the region, east-northeasterly to east-southeasterly, 15 to 35 kilometers per hour. Our predictions for Barbados for tonight and tomorrow. Tonight, fair at first, becoming occasionally cloudy with a few showers and a chance of isolated thunderstorms. And come tomorrow, we're looking at fair to partly cloudy skies with a few brief showers.
Naniki presents Classics and Jazz, featuring Bajan world-renowned master drummer Roy Haynes. Get your tickets now from Supercenter Warrens and Supercenter Big B, CS Pharmacy, A&B Sound Sheraton, and Travel House Mall International, or book online at www.lushlife.bb. Brought to you in association with Mount Gay Extra Old Rum, Piper Heidsieck Champagne, Shiva's Regal Scotch Whiskey, The Travel House, CBC TV 8, the NCF, the BTA, Elko Rentals, QSI, Field Tech Inc., Acute Vision, and Starcom Network Inc. It's a wow weekend sale at Brankers on Fontebelle. Your home is crying out for the wow factor. And Brankers has answered your call. Wow your kitchen with new large ceramic tiles on sale at $3.33 each. 24 by 24 and 24 by 48 inch countertop porcelain tiles at 20% off. Wow! It's time you put the wow back into shower time. With frameless glass shower doors in various sizes, complete with installation hardware. They're now on sale at 20% off. Get trendy with the new exciting and unique glass and marble mosaics that have just arrived at Brankers. They are guaranteed to give your home the wow it deserves. Visit Brankers first. Countertop porcelain tiles at 20% off. Wow! It's time you put the wow back into shower time. With frameless glass shower doors in various sizes, complete with installation hardware. They're now on sale at 20% off. Get trendy with the new exciting and unique glass and marble mosaics that have just arrived at Brankers. They are guaranteed to give your home the wow it deserves. Visit Brankers first. Your home will love you for it. It's all affordable luxury at Brankers. But you have to hurry. This sale won't last forever. Brankers on Fontebelle.
Always ultra thin pads have leak guard protection to absorb super quickly and adjust to sudden variations of flow. No matter what surprises get you caught, no other ultra absorbs faster. So relax, we've got you covered. Have a happy period, always.
International news now. Ex-Bosnian Serb Army Chief Ratko Mladic has been declared fit to be extradited from Serbia to face trial in The Hague. General Mladic's legal team says he is in poor health and that they will appeal on Monday. They have requested that he be admitted to hospital over concerns about his health.
Moments ago, a spokeswoman for the court by the name of Maja Kovacevic, she came out and said that doctors had taken a look at Ratko Mladic and decided that he does suffer from some chronic conditions, but he is not facing any immediate risk, and that the procedure for his extradition can in fact move forward. A judge ruled as well that that procedure should move forward. Now, the defense attorney stepped out and said that at no time during this hearing did Ratko Mladic speak. He chose not to comment, not to address the court. The lawyer said that Mladic will file an appeal to try to fight this extradition. According to the spokeswoman, they have 3 days to do that. The court's closed on Sunday. They expect that that will take place on Monday, that the appeal will be filed. When asked how long the judge will take to rule on the appeal, she answered, immediately. And of course, we have to recall that the Serbian government has announced that they believe within 7 days, Mladic could be extradited to The Hague. Kristen?
And Ivan, who determines if he is fit to stand trial, and to what extent will his health get in the way of justice?
Well, we've been hearing not only from his defense attorney, but also from his son, expressing a great concern about the health of this man who's described as the most wanted war criminal in Europe. Evidently, his right arm is partially paralyzed. His son said that he's having trouble speaking. He appears to have suffered a series of strokes and heart attacks, according to his defense attorney. And it does seem very clear that they're going to try to make the case that he is not in a physical condition to stand trial or perhaps even to be extradited from the country.
The U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton has met with Pakistan's president. She's the highest-ranking American dignitary to visit the country since U.S. forces killed Osama bin Laden there. She had some stern words for the key U.S. ally.
America cannot and should not solve Pakistan's problems. That's up to Pakistan. But in solving its problems, Pakistan should understand that anti-Americanism and conspiracy theories will not make problems disappear.
And we're back after the break with a recap of our top stories.
Big Hill, I'm Roger. And I'm Imran. And we're going to be here every Saturday, reasoning with people who are keeping it real on things that matter most to you, the youth, like drugs, AIDS, gangs. Check us out on Big Hill, Big Hill.
The senior athletes had their outing at the National Stadium recently. Now it's time to put them on show. This Saturday, take a glimpse, take a glance. The seniors on show. CBC TV 8, Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Now here's a recap of the top stories interpreted for the hearing impaired and brought to you with the compliments of Carlton and Emerald City Supermarkets, where the weekly specials are at better prices.
A new disturbing trend is emerging among public and private secondary schools in Barbados. It's a practice called self-harming behavior. The extent of the trend was revealed today by education officials. HIV and AIDS is taking a toll on Barbadians, and government is stepping up the fight against the dreaded disease. Health Minister Donville Innes says his ministry is under threat to find the finance to fight the scourge. According to the minister, between 1984 and last year, just over 3,400 people tested positive for the disease. 2,219 developed AIDS and 1,508 died. In the weather forecast tonight, it will be fair at first, becoming occasionally cloudy with a few scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms. Tomorrow, fair to partly cloudy with a few brief showers.
That recap of the top stories interpreted for the hearing impaired was brought to you with the compliments of Carlton and Emerald City Supermarkets, where the weekly specials are at better prices.
Well, if you're not allergic to it, you've probably eaten shrimp already. But have you ever heard about shrimp working out on a treadmill? Well, CNN's Jeannie Moores explains.
If you think a shrimp on a treadmill doesn't get very far, well, this shrimp became world famous. His footwork so admired that YouTube fans put it to music. All kinds of music. And the shrimp on a treadmill became trendy. Shrimp scampying along, song after song. But now, just a few years later, he's become a poster boy. Look at him go! A poster crustacean for wasteful government spending. Senator Tom Coburn put out a report mocking the National Science Foundation for funding research projects such as shrimp on a treadmill with a $500,000 grant. The media began cracking jokes about obese shrimp.
You know what you call a shrimp that's overweight?
What?
Jumbo. Jumbo shrimp.
Now this is my idea of shrimp on a treadmill. But you won't find this guy working out at Equinox. The real shrimp treadmill is at the Grice Marine Lab at the College of Charleston, South Carolina, where they're using that $500,000 grant to do what doctors do to people. This is like a stress test for shrimp.
Yeah, it is, exactly.
How long would they run on it?
They would run for hours, at least 5 hours in some cases.
Lab director Lou Burnett says they subject the shrimp to, say, environmental stresses like low oxygen or pollution, then measure their response using blood tests and checking respiration. What's next? Shrimp on a Stairmaster? Actually, treadmills for crabs and even lobsters were the next step. Not to create studly crustaceans, but to do basic science that might help seafood to survive. Professor Burnett sounded a little fried, accusing critics of
picking on the National Science Foundation. It's serious science, and it's good science.
Even if the media don't take it too seriously.
Yeah, look at this shrimp on a treadmill. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's the worst intro I've ever had. Take a look at this shrimp on a treadmill. Really? Really? Really, George? George, is this it?
And after a workout like this, even a shrimp needs a cocktail.
And that's news. Thanks so much for joining us. Do have a wonderful weekend.